Yeah, we are live. It is Wednesday, November the 4th, getting down to crunch time. It is 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Welcome to NasCanucks, presented by Vibraprint. For all your custom printing needs, go to vibraprintonline.com, search NasCanucks, and you'll find all of our merch. I'm your host, Ben, and this is my awesome co-host, Cousin Doug. How's it going? Could be better.
It's okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. You applied for a job as a tire changer?
Yeah, I think I can do it. I think I can get some lug nuts a little tight.
Fair enough. More on that later. Thought we'd tease that out there. So, we had an awesome racing week. It's funny. We know I'm old school, but like we had discussed on last week's show, Friday truck, Saturday Xfinity, Sunday Cup. It wasn't until I started watching the races, I'm like, wait, they ran the trucks on Friday? How did they do that? Oh, right. Martinsville has lights.
Yes. That's something new this year, Ben, because you've already watched one Martinsville at night this year.
Yep. But based on certain lifestyle choices, Ben didn't remember. So, the truck race, everything's coming down. Everyone's setting their final four for Phoenix, which, whatever. But, carry on. The truck race, it wasn't what I expected to the last 50 laps. And then the last 50 laps turned into any dirt track late model race we've seen at the Charlotte Dirt Oval.
I will say a guy that we had talked about. I'm not sure if we talked about him on air. I know we've talked about him a lot off air. Ben Rhodes really tried to make it that kind of a race.
Yep.
But we'll have more on that later as well, too.
Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, it's pretty bad when his main defender, Michael Waltrip, is like, he's out there hitting everything he can.
Yeah, because we'll talk about it later, but there is a common denominator in that situation.
There is, across all three of the top series.
Yes.
Yep. I want to start a fund to chip in on some prescription glasses. That's all I'm going to say right now. Early goings in the race, it was pretty straightforward. Everybody knew what they needed to do. Guys were hustling for positions, but not abusing their vehicles while getting those positions. I'll nudge somebody the way, but I'm not going to definitely, beat and bang and this and that. And, it seemed to be most of the usual suspects running up front for the most part. Saw a wicked paint scheme out there. We had Brett Moffitt running the Harry Gant throwback. Harry was down at the shop for his pose, and Brett went up to Harry's farm for a few hours during the week to hang out. He said, he may be 79 years old, but he looks like he'd strap in any day now.
Oh, yeah, and you can see that from the pictures.
Yeah, I swear he hasn't aged since he retired.
No. But yeah, I think overall it wasn't a bad race. We got till like the last 50 there. Looked like Raphael Lessard may have been listening to the show, watching the show last week.
Right.
And he really took your words to heart.
Yep.
And I thought he was gonna, he had the shot until somebody named Rhodes decided to tap the back bumper, get him out of the way. But
and our other Canadian in the field, Stuart Friesen, he was showing why he is a short track ace. Did lead some laps, as I recall. Of course, being biased, every time I see a Canadian get out front, I'm like, we need to bring back that 5 points for leading a lap.
Yeah.
I guess by today's standards, 1 point for leading a lap, maybe.
5 points if you count in Canadian points. So.
That's right. Yeah, with conversion rate.
Yes.
Yeah. Like we said, it got down. Then the last 50 laps, we had a series of cautions. Just because everyone decided to start driving through each other rather than around each other.
Yeah, it seemed like every caution, the leader changed.
Yep, definitely, and
not just to the pit road, just because of someone knocking him out of the way to get in there.
And I was going to say, let's just say your wife was hard at work all weekend in all 3 of the series. If you decided you were going to bash somebody to get that extra point or two to get you into the final race, didn't work that way.
No.
Which was awesome to see, because I hate racing to begin with. And you know what is weird? I'm watching the racing action all weekend, and I thought to myself, they've been putting down that goopy track pound for years, trying to bring in a second groove. Why not at Martinsville, which is known as a single groove racetrack?
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking, like, if they did not even the second lane, but maybe third lane, you know, like basically put the track compound around the edge of the concrete in the corners.
So the marbles could all just stick with it.
Yeah, and I think that'd be wild, because you'd have somebody just riding the curb, getting down and around, and then you'll have someone just kind of trying to zing around the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they didn't.
But then, they played the like I said, the Who Wants to Lead this lap, and bang, because Sheldon Creed had a shot, he got knocked out of the way. Moffitt unfortunately got involved in that Lessard. When he got turned, he ran into Lessard. Then, Crafton was right in it all day too. Like, there was a lot of guys that were right there, like that were bubble guys that could have went and got in.
Yeah, and that was a theme throughout the weekend. It was the guys that needed to be up front were up front. You can call it manufactured excitement or whatever. And I'm just thinking, like, in all 3 races, they're like, hey, look at the points here, blah, blah, blah. Well, even if it wasn't the playoffs, we have this kind of storyline every week in races. But we just, whether or not we decide to cover it. Like, hey, it could be as much as a guy driving for his ride for next year. He needs to finish top 10 to keep that ride.
Yeah, it's whether or not the driver is in the Hendrick stable, whether they're actually going to talk about him.
That's true. Yeah.
But then coming down to the end, I think what we all wanted to see, we did get to see, being Christian Eckes right in behind Rhodes.
Right.
And Rhodes needing him to be nice to him, to let him keep going.
Right.
And that did not happen.
Well, payback's a bitch.
And I've kind of, after the race, Rhodes' interview, he was like, we just want to be out there racing, but unfortunately, I don't know if he said people couldn't let things go or whatever. It was kind of, it almost felt like he had saying that there, that unfortunately there's some people who got like some bad blood out there with me or whatever, and it's like, dude, you're starting it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's that typical whiner, do as I say, not as I do mentality, like, which we've seen in various organizations. Like, I think they have that stenciled across the dashboard of the cars, or depending on who your spotter is. So maybe
we could see Mr. Rhodes in a Penske Xfinity car next year at some point.
Well, certainly only applying for one of those positions, that's for sure. Now, was it Sheldon Creed actually won the race?
No, it was that young guy that finally won a race and beat Kyle Busch in a race earlier that people kept talking about. Even though he is older than Kyle Busch, because it's all the young guys doing all the winning all the time, right?
That
the old guys.
Yeah.
Mr. Grant Enfinger did get the win, which was nice to see.
Yeah, great to see. Those guys, it's funny because I lose track, progression, how far you make it up through the tiers or whatever, and Grant Enfinger, Sheldon Creed. I'm even going to throw Justin in that. These are all guys that I remember their names mainly from the ARCA series, and Creed and Enfinger, they seem to spend that extra to an ARCA. And I thought, all right, because usually it's a one and done, maybe 2 years in ARCA before moving up. And these guys spend that extra year or two. And I thought, okay, those are the guys that usually move from ARCA to truck, and that's kind of it. But guys who take a little more time, you don't have to be 21 years old running in Cup.
Well, Creed is still young. I want to say Creed is still, isn't he like 22?
I think so, yeah.
Well,
But that's
and,
the
you know,
weird thing,
we're
because America was allowing so many 16-year-olds to run that you think in your head, oh, he's got to be 28, 29. And it's like, no.
yeah. So we're Graham Enfinger's what? He's almost. I think he's pushing on 37.
I think so.
But yeah, I think it should be a good final race at Phoenix.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say the champion will come out of GMS though,
Okay.
just because they have 3 trucks.
Right.
Right? It's
pretty good odds.
Yeah, it's got there's Creed, Zane Smith, who's had a great year.
Yeah, and
Um,
he's a rookie too, or is it second year? Rookie.
no, he's a rookie. He's a rookie,
Yeah.
and he really locked in because he crashed out early at Talladega at that cutoff race,
Right.
and that really could have put him. He was then sitting watching for almost 3/4 of that race.
Yeah.
And then everyone else, Todd Gillen had his issues,
Right.
Which I think that was a bit of karma coming back at him for what he did with Kyle
I've
Busch
never
last
been
year.
much of Gilliland, but man, he's been on the short end the last month or so. Like,
Yeah,
I was like, wow, this guy's got some bad luck. But again, thinking back, nope, that's just everything balanced itself in life.
yeah. Todd Gillen. Yeah, David's his father. Todd, he blew an engine at Talladega there. Then Christian Eckes, unfortunately, in a last lap wreck. I'm not sure if Rhodes was involved. Now I got to see a bit of it today there.
Oh, probably.
We watched some stuff, but yeah. So Zane Smith kind of lucked it. Like he got some luck. He's now in the final 4.
Yep.
And then Brett Moffitt, the other driver from GMS.
Yep. And again, someone coming up through the ARCA ranks and doing well. Yeah, Moffitt's another one of those guys I always think is Canadian because there's the Moffitt family that runs around here. And very parallel.
For me, I keep confusing him with Thad Moffitt, the grandson of Richard Petty.
Okay, I can see that.
Who ran a bit, right? He did run a bit. I'm not sure if he was trucks or Xfinity.
I remember America for sure.
Yeah, so
that's true. So good truck race, and then that takes us into Saturday, where we got to see the Xfinity Series return for the first time in 6 years. I think they said.
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah, it seems to me for ages it was just trucks and cup. For that, it was late models and cup at Martinsville. But for whatever reason, it was one of those deals. They tried the then Busch Series like in 1985. Once didn't work, and they said, "Screw it, we don't want them back," or whatever. Then they came back a number of years ago for a couple of years, and that was it. And now they're back again, where those who spent their time in the Truck Series really had an advantage going in.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was another one where
I was going to say third verse same as the first. It was very much like the Truck Series, where early on people were running smart, and then as the race progressed, people got dumber, and it was usually the usual suspects getting dumber.
The one thing I've noticed the last couple of weeks is that Chase Briscoe really hasn't been on it.
They barely mentioned him on Saturday.
Right? And then coming out, I want to say Monday, the news came out that his wife had another miscarriage.
Oh,
right?
Sucks.
So that's the second one during this season that she's had. So I'm not sure if that may have played anything into his on-track struggle.
I hate to use the term distraction because that's not fair to his wife.
No.
But that's a lot going on. Anyone that's been around that knows there's a lot more involved emotionally, physically.
Yeah.
You got to be hands-on with your wife. And I don't mean that in some weird live.
No, and I think
it's a lot of stress.
Talking about the distraction the other way, he was able to overcome it at Darlington that first race back.
Mm-hmm.
That the Xfinity won He won that Xfinity race at Darlington, that first race back.
Right.
But so I don't know. We'll see for next week. But but so many other people just had issues there. It sounds like I don't know.
And I know that I will say, I bet you there's at least 3 guys, maybe 4 in the garage going in the last race of the season that are really happy that 20 car had some issues earlier in the playoffs, because
I think so too.
He's the car to beat right now.
Oh yeah.
2 excellent wins, skipping ahead a bit there, but honestly, there wasn't a whole lot else to talk about except for watching, young Harrison Burton just come up and get the lead pretty damn clean. He was nudging people the way. Again, nudging, not slamming, not knocking them up into the wall, just move them up a lane. And, doing well. There was a bit of an incident involving him and his cousin Jeb. At one point, they got into each other a little bit. And, of course, the joke was made, this is going to make for an interesting Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, Harrison had the donuts on the side of the car there at the end to show for it. But it was, he did set the record for youngest Xfinity driver to win at Martinsville.
Yep. Record previously held by his dad. Which was funny. Which his dad didn't even realize that when they mentioned during the broadcast. They say, "No, who holds the record?" He goes, "No." They said, "You," and he goes, "Well, how would I know that? You're always calling me old on here."
Exactly. Yeah, and I think what you can say we love watching the races, but the best part of that I think was the interview afterwards. While he's still in the car. And Jeff, and they have, of course, they have Jeff doing the interview.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, Jeff calls down to him, and Harrison's first reaction is, "What's up, Dad?" You can hear the excitement in his voice.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I'm going to do something.
If they go off air, you think Harrison's going to grab that trophy, run over to his dad, and "Look what I got, Dad."
Yeah.
I got.
And they're talking to him while he's doing the burnout. He's like, "I'm going to do something that you never got to do." And Jeff's like, "Yeah, it's because I didn't know how to do a burnout." But
exactly, yeah, great to see. I really see a good future for that guy. It's nice to see he's in good equipment and he's proving himself. And like I say, if he hadn't had issues earlier in the playoffs, he's damn near my favorite going in next weekend.
Oh, and you know what? And he's one of those guys that nobody's talking crap about him on the track.
Nope.
Right? He is like his father.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. If I'd like to see a little bit more with it because he's that young. I can't really judge his personality too much. I know he's not a dick. That you can tell he doesn't have that cocky attitude. But I'm wondering, is he that well spoken in the garage? He's going to be the next mayor. As they always nicknamed his dad, the mayor.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see. I hope he has a good long future in racing because he's a good one. Definitely. I don't know if there was anything else of note from the Xfinity garage area.
Not
that
I know of. I know I kind of give my take for this week for the trucks, and maybe I'll hold off on talking about that because we got who's our 4? We got Briscoe, Cindric, Haley, and Allgaier, which are 4 guys that are just going to be banging the hell out of each other.
Yep. Yeah, there isn't a single one of those that's not afraid to trade some paint if needed. For the most part, Haley can get a little aggressive at times, but it seems like he turns it on when he needs to. Kind of like a Brad Keselowski in that respect.
Yeah.
Brad, pretty damn clean, but as we saw on Sunday, just a preview.
Yep.
I think they must have had some titanium under that bumper cover from Brad's car because he was knocking. Can't you hear me knocking? Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's going to be interesting. Obviously, I'd say the dirtiest driver out of the 4 would be in the 22, Cindric there.
Yeah.
But
more on that later.
Yeah, more on that later.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's get into Sunday, where again, cutoff race. That was interesting. I don't know how many times we saw less than 5 points spreading third through fifth or fourth through sixth. Like there was 3 guys running for 2 to 3 spots pretty much throughout the race, because those who needed to run up front, or let's say those who basically it was win or nothing, with that 30, 40, 50 point of the cutoff, which I'm looking at Martin Truex, I'm looking at Kurt Busch. Kurt, everyone's, he's a write-off. He's like 80 points. Really? Running top 5.
Yeah.
He has a chance. We did see an interesting pit stop I wanted to touch on.
More on that later, too.
A few interesting pit stops. One, teams, I understand, you're trying to get every bit of speed out of your cars, but open up those damn wheel wells on short tracks. We used to do that for a reason. So you could turn in your fenders and they didn't rub your tires.
Yeah.
I get it, but I don't get it. There's a reason guys still stick 2x4s down the passenger side door panel at Darlington. They've been doing that since the 60s.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it. Kudos to Danny Hamlin, who apparently can leave travel packers in the right rear and still be competitive. That was impressive.
Yeah.
He was pretty competitive throughout. So actually, pretty much everybody that needed to run up front did run up front.
Yeah.
With the exception of Harvick,
who had his struggles.
A lot of struggles because, and it was nice that they weren't doing the manufacturer. He gained a spot. He's on his way back. The guys in the booth are like, look, he might be a lap or 2 down. But if he was on the lead lap, say 30 cars on lap, he's running with those guys who are running 28th to 30th, and he's not driving by them like anything. He was having a hard time passing those guys. So, considering he got up as far as he did towards the end, was pretty impressive. And then it was funny. We saw 2 people that basically needed to do a bump and run to help their careers. Being hard on, karma got him because he admitted it at the end of the race. I took out Kyle Busch blatantly for the stupid point, and it didn't work, which was awesome. And the other one, Alex Bowman, everyone's saying, hey, Alex, you got to get aggressive. And everyone in the booth saying, I don't think he knows how to do that. Because he was literally, he was doing the tap, which is kind of like using your horn. Hey, I'm here. And they're like, no, you got to get him harder than that.
But I think Dale Jr. said it the best yesterday, I believe it was, that he said, you can tell that Harvick isn't that real aggressive, dirty driver that needs to take people out because he really sucks at it. He's taking somebody out and then takes himself out.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. And it was kind of like Bowman, too. I thought that was funny. Jeff Burton said, was it for Dale Jr.'s like, he doesn't really know how to bump people. He's super clean. And then Jeff Burton's like, this is exactly when you got to start running over everybody. Because you're the nobody will expect it.
Yeah, and with that Harvick thing, listening to the radio there on Monday, and the people calling in, I want to know what Kyle Busch had to say about Harvick spinning him, and I'm like, you know what? You're just trying to cause shit because you're a hater.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you right now what exactly Kyle Busch would have said about that. I would have did the same thing.
Yep. And it's not like Kyle got taken out of anything it didn't affect him any way, shape, or form. Kyle could finish second or 40th and would feel the exact same way after the race because Kyle, it's win or lose with him.
I don't think Kyle lost a position.
No, somebody scooted around both of them, which I don't think happened.
Yeah, because Kyle did like a 360 and just kept going.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't tell because the way the camera kind of focused more on Harvick.
Yeah.
But that was interesting to say the least.
And then we had the weekly 22 incident. He had Elliott again. I'm going to go kick his ass. Elliott, you couldn't do it out of a wet paper bag.
Yeah.
But, he's, throwing words at other people. Well, it's the 22, so it's
yeah,
he was going to be going at somebody.
Right, and and honest, as much as it pains me, Chase Elliott ran a damn good race.
My thing is reading afterwards, everyone was saying how he dominated.
No, he didn't.
I don't think he dominated because
you gotta lead over half the laps to dominate a race, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you want to dominate a race, you go and lead every lap but 2.
Yeah.
At a 600-mile race.
Yeah.
I'm talking about domination.
Yeah, or I don't know, go to New Hampshire and lead every single lap of the race, Jeff Burton.
Yeah, like because he won by 6 seconds. Okay, yeah, but the rest of the race, everybody else is there right with him.
Yeah, and all that takes second place and third place to get into each other on the last lap, and you're going to gain 5 seconds while they're all scrambling, for that. But and I did want to say, there was a little bit of controversy. I'm glad people aren't going into it more. And what it was the Jackman during a pit stop jumped off the wall too early. He got damn near all the way across the pit stall before he realized it, and then realized his mistake, ran over a la baseball style on a pop fly, tagged up with his leg on the wall, and then, by that point, the car was fully stopped, and it did hurt their pit stop by, I'd say, at least 2 or 3 seconds, which was good. And there is a rule in place because the pit crew will stand on the wall waiting on the driver. If you lose your balance and fall down, the rule is you got to get back up on the wall. NASCAR did a bit of a call it in the air type situation here. And honestly, he did tag up. And, and I'm not a Hendrick fan in any way, shape, or form, but I was okay with that. I went, okay. Let's.
I'm going to say my issue with it is if going over the wall too soon is having 1 foot down, that you have to have both feet up on the wall and have nothing off the wall. If you're going to tag up, you got to get your ass back over that wall, then come back. That's tagging up, because you can say it's like baseball where you can tag up. Baseball, you only need 1 foot on that base.
Right. And then what are we going to have? Pit crews all standing on pit road with their, with your foot touching the wall like you would a base, like basically leading off.
I'm thinking that if being 1 foot over is too soon, haul ass and get both feet back on that wall. Even if you just hop up on the wall, hop off. Not because him doing that, he stretched pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
Right? He just had to do one pivot, and he was 1 foot back at the car if they're doing the left sides.
Yeah.
Right? I think they got to be both feet back up and back over.
I think we will see a clarification come on that at some point. There will be a new rule instituted in the rule book for it. And a lot of times, we don't have these rules until we encounter a situation.
Well, right? Now, Cole Pern, I was listening to Cole Pern talk about it, and Cole said that rule has been in place for a while. They know the rules. Smart of the guy to know that he just had to go and tag up. I just think that tag up should be 2 feet.
Right. Yep.
It's just my go on it. It was, listening to the radio has been brought up a lot. A lot of people calling in saying that people that are upset about it are just haters and need to shut up because the 9 car is the best car out there. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
Even had one announcer, I'll call him out, Doug Rice out of, I forget if he was PRN or MRN, was on the radio in for John Roberts, and he said that he was glad that NASCAR was lenient on the 9 team because it's Hendrick Motorsports and they're all good guys.
Bull.
Doug, that's bullshit. We've already said there's that computer issue that's been lost, and there haven't been any deal. He's done shit since. Yeah. Right? I'm gonna another podcast. Go listen to Dale Jr. Download right now. He's got Chad Knaus on this week, and Chad and even Dale Jr. says Chad talks about the gray areas that they overstepped and tried to overstep. You got Chad Knaus telling Jimmy, There could be issues with the back end. Back it into the wall on your burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They're not the golden boys everybody says they are.
No. Well, considering Chad isn't technically retired yet, if you look at, I believe Chad Knaus still holds the modern day record for fines and suspensions by a NASCAR crew chief.
Yeah. So.
Chad would have fitted real well running for Junior Johnson or Smokey Unick back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So
that's just my take on it. And with people also calling in saying, Chase winning this race just shows that he can win on an oval. No, everyone has always said all along that in order to run at Martinsville, you have to be a road course racer because that's what you're on the brakes, you're off the brakes, same as a road course. You're not going at the high speeds,
right? Which and it's interesting. Yeah, I saw that too. And one of them actually said he's not only a road course ace. Hasn't he only won 2 road courses in his career?
No, he's won the last 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I grudgingly I'm not going to accept it still. No.
Yeah. But yeah, so
yeah. Which is that he is so good on road courses stuff because it's not like he's an IndyCar guy that came over, or like he doesn't have an extent. Although I don't know as far as go-karts go, because being here, you run go-karts growing up in Canada, you're running road courses 99% of the time. Unless it's one of the very, very new, like some of the local short tracks are now instituting kid karting during the week, stuff like that. So who are the 4 that we're looking at in Phoenix for the Cup Series? So it'd be...
So the Cup Series for Phoenix, I'm going to say, I tried to rewatch the show last week. I couldn't see. Did I call it on the show last week? I know I called it with us off the air. That everyone last week, during the week leading up to the race, was kind of anointing Kevin Harvick.
Right. And we were both saying he's already in.
They haven't been good in the chase. I'm going to say that right now. In the playoffs, they haven't done nothing.
Yeah.
And if you come in with a 70-point lead, all you have to do is just run up front.
Yeah. They
haven't been on it, so I'm not sure they deserve to be in the Final Four. Saying that, I know a lot of people are saying that the regular season champion should be automatically in the Final Four.
I thought of that yesterday, but I don't like that idea because you could be bad for 2 months and still be in the Final Four.
Okay. No. Just because you're a regular season champion, does that mean you deserve a spot in the final because you're going to win?
No.
The Patriots were 17-0 going into the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Yep.
Lost. They were not the best team in the regular season.
How many times have we seen the President's Trophy winner in the NHL not win? I
was just going to say that. Just because you're the best in the regular season, you got to perform in the playoffs. You don't perform in the playoffs, get the hell out and let someone that's actually going to get hot and perform in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
In there.
I'm just, I think we'll see it more because, we know I don't like the playoff system. I think run all year for a title. If Chase Briscoe doesn't win the Xfinity title, I have issues. He won a quarter of all those and was up front.
Well, you know what? I'll get it now. I'm going to say in the last couple of rounds of the playoffs here, tell me his stats are different than Kevin Harvick's in the last couple of rounds.
Right. Yeah. But, it's still, if you win that many races, I'm sorry, you're the champ, in my opinion.
Well, Harvick's won 9 as well.
Yep. True.
What have you done for me lately? Sure, we talked about that other distraction off the track, but still, what have you done for me lately on the track?
Right. Yeah. I still don't like this whole playoff business. Especially considering there's too many variables, like hinkiness. Like, comes down to, let's say, Logano and Hamlin. Who's to say one of either Hamlin's teammates takes out Logano or vice versa? How is that fair? Like, truly, for it to be a true playoff, we can't have other non-playoff cars in the field.
Well,
that's where sure, a 4-car race would be a boring race for the last race of the season.
Yeah.
But there's too many things. Like, at least when it's down to in stick and ball, when it's down to the 2 teams for the title, it's the 2 teams. You don't have a third team out there sabotaging the ball.
Well, I think NASCAR is on to look at that stuff because we go back to Sunday. There's that other talk of all the like conspiracy theorists were out like in force on Monday listening because they're calling in and say, hey, you know what? You need to shut up about Chase Elliott because they've done nothing wrong. Look at Denny Hamlin. He should be out. And even Scott Miller from NASCAR was on and really surprised that Pete Costoni really went on at him about this. Not surprised with the way I've seen Mike Bagley talk or heard him talk about the Hendrick team.
Right.
But they're like, you really got to. Are you going to go and look? You really got to have a look at what went on with the 20 and the 11. Well, I seen the 20 all over the back bumper of the 11.
Yeah, although I did
to the point where Denny was like,
back off on the straight too.
Yeah, but to the point where Denny was like, tell him to get the frick off my bumper. Like, Denny was getting pissed off at him. So, you know what? The 20 was all over that bumper.
Yep. The 20 did exactly, I think, what I would have done in many ways, which was play the game, which was not pass Hamlin. But by driving up inside of him, putting his bumper next to Hamlin's door halfway up the side, and then blatantly backing off halfway down the stretch to give the spot back to Hamlin, Jones is showing everyone else in the field, I could pass this guy anytime I want to, being a team player. And I think people should take note of that. I need to shout out the one pit reporter that I said that, Jones, he's not back with his team. He's driving the 34 for Petty next year. I'm like, the 34? Really? The 34? Oh, okay. Of all numbers,
another shout out to people that we talked about before, kind of going back to Sunday, that always bring out the cautions. I'm going to give it to the 37. We have we've never really talked about it on here.
No.
I don't think we've talked about our first encounter with Gray Gaulding. Many years ago. As a late model driver, I'm going to say that's got to be about 8 years ago now, 9 years ago.
Yep.
And down in Charlotte, we were at 600. And Gray and his family as like a 15-year-old, maybe?
Sounds about right.
Outside Charlotte Motor Speedway with his Krispy Kreme late model in his driver's suit, taking pictures of people and giving out hero cards and like he was
you're like, who's that guy? I'm like, damned if I know.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Only good thing about that whole setup they had there, they gave free donuts.
That's right.
They gave free Krispy Kreme donuts. So that's the only good thing about it.
Yep. That's
you got the hero card with it, and like,
you use the hero card as a plate for your donut.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah.
So we've got what? Hamlin, Logano, Chase Elliott, and
Keselowski. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you know who I'm going with.
Well, out of that 4, I guess I'm pulling for. It's a coin toss. Who's the lesser asshole? Literally. It's like I like Brad a little better than Denny, but I hate Roger Penske a little more than Joe Gibbs. Like, I don't really hate Joe Gibbs. I'm neutral on Joe Gibbs at best. Sorry, Amy, but that's me. But I don't know. I can't cheer for a Penske car. I haven't been able to do that since Rusty Wallace drove it, for God's sake.
I'm going to say at the end of the race in Phoenix, should still be the daytime. If it is. there will be the clouds in the sky will be the same as after the Daytona 500. To bookend the seasons, it was that JD in the sky, in the clouds there, and I think they're going to do it for JD, and that Denny will come up. I know I've already messaged Amy. I've said you make sure you check those planes, even if you have to go over to this race shop. No tape in the hauler.
Right.
Make sure there's none of that around anywhere.
Yep. And on the random note, we did tease it at the beginning of the show. We should mention, putting in the application as a tire changer, because apparently, regardless of team, regardless of manufacturer, regardless of the decade, your boy Martin Truex cannot get a tire changer to tighten all the goddamn lug nuts when crucial to advancing his career.
So I think he could have given Chase a run for the money, because he like that run before that, he was dialed in, like he was great, like he even said it, and then just
there was only one other guy that's had as many pit crew problems over the year. Harvick.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen bad pit stops. How many times in Kevin Harvick's career have we heard, well, they brought over the pit crew from such and such a team, and that goes back to his Childress days. And Martin's had a bit of that as well, fortunately, because they have a talent pool of Joe Gibbs running pit crews so much. But damn, yeah, I know. Loose lugs and the worst wheel. I think he could have got away with it, but when you can physically see the rim moving on the studs going into the corner, you know, I didn't know that. I was, you know, everyone's like, hang on to it, stay out there, and I'm like, that wheel's going to come off very soon.
I think we talked about it last week. Jeremy was making comments about stuff, and I don't know. There was a time there, right around the end of the first stage, second stage, I'm not sure. James Small had Martin stay out.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone behind him had fresh tires. Chase was already staying out with old tires.
Right.
You know what? Bring him in. Let those other guys rough up Chase up front, and then kind of reap that.
Right.
But
I get it too, because they're trying to get as many stage points as possible. And with the way tires were being consumed early in the race, it looked like everybody was going to be one or two sets short by the end.
But the thing is, though, for him, points didn't matter. At that point in the race, points don't matter. I know you're still running to be that fifth place guy or whatever, but you need the win.
Yeah. And I think that was we saw that too much over the weekend, where everybody was points racing as opposed to, I got to win. We didn't see that I have to win, with the exception of, trying to think. No, really. Oh, I guess if you guys were co-opting that idea, 550 each race, but that was it. They were leaving it too late. But, you know, they should have had the attitude the attitude that Clint Boyer, you know, previously, like, I have to win, and he was out there trying to lead every lap of the race. You know, we didn't see enough of that attitude, it seemed. You know, or the fact, like, we were hearing how, like, Harvick, they weren't even letting him know about the points, and Junior is screaming like, he needs 1 point. There's a car, half a car length ahead.
I'm not sure if they did play it on TV. I can't remember. But I know that they did talk about it and played it a bit on the radio, that Rodney did tell him where he was in points, or he was getting close on points. And Harvick basically told him off in about 3 words about what he thought of the points, just to leave him alone. He's trying to run the race.
Fair enough.
So,
yeah, and that's the thing. And we know some drivers want all the info. Some drivers want no info. Some drivers want and need a coach all the way around the track. They need that spotter in their ear constantly. Whereas you get other guys, just give me the lap times. I'm good otherwise. Well, do you need me to spot ahead for you? No. It's not restrictor plate race. Really, your spotter is supposed to be looking half a lap ahead of you to let you know if there's an accident coming up for you to avoid.
Yeah.
That goes back to when we had less quality brakes on cars, so they didn't stop on a dime. Now we have these goddamn driver coaches up on top of the press box every week, and I'm sick of it. Now I understand they made spotters mandatory after, I believe it was Mike Harmon's wreck at Bristol in a Busch Series practice. You remember, because he didn't have a spotter, came around, clocked his car really badly.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of coaches that circle the track and that are absolute crap.
Yeah.
There is the one guy that I don't know if we could probably get rid of a couple days, but while we're in Charlotte next year, hopefully we're in Charlotte next year. Mm-hmm. That I will gladly throw my contacts in and lend these to this gentleman.
Yep.
Because there was 3 drivers that are usually involved in stuff that then say, it's unfortunately that it's other people that are having the issues, that it's, for starting everything, but there's a common denominator, whether it be Ben Rhodes, Austin Cindric, Joey Logano, they all have the same spotter.
Yep. Exactly.
That they're constantly getting into other guys. And then if you listen to that spotter on door bumper clear, it's not me.
Yep.
This other guy did something wrong.
Where was that attitude when he spotted for Dale Jr.? Why? Because Dale Jr. was so popular and said in his ways of driving style, all you could do was offer advice rather than coach. That fine line. And prior to spotting for Dale Jr., he was Jeff Gordon's spotter. And guess what? You're not going to coach a 4-time champ around the track.
No.
You're there to assist. And then all of a sudden, the change happened where, for whatever, Logano, we know, has needed his handheld through his entire career. It wasn't until his dad finally handed him off to spotter.
Yeah.
But normally I don't mind family at the track, but certain dads need to stay the fuck at home because they're just a bunch of hockey dads.
Yeah.
And he's not the only one. I'm looking at you, whatever the hell David Reagan's dad's name was. He was another one.
I was going to say, to a certain degree, Gillen, but Gillen's now just his dad's just the team owner.
Yeah.
In the Truck Series.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So is that, trying to think, other news here, out of the bag, we had already talked about it here before. The new 2311 team will be number 23.
Right. Shocker.
I was kind of funny the other week. I think it was Texas when they had that rain delay.
Yeah.
That one of the pit reporters was talking to Bubba about it, and they was like, "Oh, you're going to be running 23 next year." He's like, "Am I? Has that been announced yet? Am I?" And I'm like, "Dude, okay, give it up. Everyone knows that's your number you're going to be."
Yeah. Exactly. Even if was already running that number, you would have seen one of those, "Can we buy the number from you?" situation.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of flack, and again, totally unwarranted. All of a sudden, apparently, anybody else can start a side team like this. We're looking at DEI, where a current driver starts a cup team. Just off the top of my head, apparently that was fine. We could have DEI, but oh no, this is a fifth Gibbs. This is a fifth Gibbs car. Really? We didn't have a problem with the Wood Brothers being a satellite team for 4-car teams in the past. They had no problem with Furniture Row being the 5th and 6th Gibb cars out there.
Yep.
But all of a sudden now, and I'm not going to say why they're saying this, but it's pretty damn obvious. Haters, regardless. It's not.
To be honest with you, JGR had Levine Family Racing, as their satellite team, or as
Sure.
a I don't want to say satellite team.
I like in F1 they call it a customer team because you are getting your chassis and motors. But guess what? Gibbs isn't dropping the motor into the car, setting it up for race ready, and then just shipping a complete turnkey. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and most of these guys, let's be honest, after the first race, you're rehanging a body on the car too, anyways.
Yeah.
You even get the bodies hung on them.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely that. It's annoying that it happens, but are we going to say now? Well, are those just Hendrick cars because they run Hendrick motors? It's like, where do we draw the line? Are all Fords Roush's because Ford is the only Ford, or Roush is the only Ford engine manufacturer?
Well, it's the same as people saying, "Oh, well, now that it costs less, will Junior Motorsports go up in the Cup?" Right?
I would love for Junior Motorsports to do that. Unfortunately,
there's a majority owner in Junior Motorsports.
I'm going to guess Rick Hendrick.
That's already got some other teams.
Yeah. Then that's the thing. Like, I'd love to see Junior move up, but we know basically JR Motorsports is just a developmental program for their drivers. I'd say with the exception of one or two cars. Like, we have Allgaier. Previous to that, we had Elliott Sadler. And that's kind of, you can tell that's Junior's program.
The forgotten guy at that team is I've now just forgot his name. Oh, Michael Annett.
Right. Another Allgaier.
Nobody remembers. Right? So you've got like those, you've got, Gregson, who I'm not sure how long he is there for. But with Josh Berry coming in.
Right.
But I think Junior is happy with where he's at.
Yeah. Well,
that's the level.
Junior is very old school.
His team,
right? Like,
he's got his team where he can do a race.
Yep.
Right? And for as much as, and we've talked about that here before, for as much as that one Xfinity race that he does a year is for what he wants to do, because he wants to race one more race each year.
Right.
That's to keep that team afloat.
Yep.
The sponsorship money that they get from him running one race, and Kelly Earnhardt has said it time and time again, that will basically run two cars.
Yep.
Right? For a year.
Yep.
Right?
Because it ties in, let's say Hellman's sponsors them for that. Hellman's will also sponsor Justin Allgaier for, say, 10 races throughout the year. And you'll see the cardboard cutout or advertising of Allgaier and Junior in the ad.
And Allgaier will put out, not Allgaier, Junior will put out that he eats his Hellman's mayonnaise and peanut butter sandwiches all the time.
Yep.
Right?
Whatever.
So,
yep.
Well, yeah.
So other than that, I don't know if we got a whole lot else here. Not that, we're just short of the hour, but I'm dancing in my chair pretty good here.
Yeah. Jimmy Johnson did run. They debuted his car for IndyCar.
Right. He put out an interesting comment today.
I didn't see any comments today.
Yeah. So, Jimmy, you planning on doing, more racing in Cup after or are you looking at unretiring, doing a Mark Martin type thing? And his response was, I like driving cars with too much horsepower. That's what I like to do. The way NASCAR is going, they keep limiting horsepower. I'm good. So, which tells me, which makes sense. The next gen car that's coming out, are we going to see smaller cubic inch displacement motor? Going to see restrictor plate on every track? It sounds like they're moving towards that. Let's be honest. These cars 20 years ago were making 900 horsepower, turning 12,000, over 10,000. We'll say because they're over 10,000 RPMs. They started limiting the RPMs with a mandated rear end gear, because to get a valve train on a a V8 motor to turn 10 grand is a lot of money. Trust me on this. They're designed to run 5,000 AM, really. So they got rid of that. They've been adding restrictor plates, throughout the series, not just the restrictor plate tracks. You'd be surprised how often they are running them, or super high drag body configurations, basically slowing the cars down to the point where we're going to see, because now I think they're down around 650, 700 horsepower on average. You're going to see them down around 500. So at that point, what are we going to do with Xfinity? Do we go back to V6s or 305 cubic in, like a 5 liter instead of 5.7? Because those two series are too damn close nowadays. I don't like it. So it's just a cup car with less downforce and less horsepower.
One other retirement news, also in the interview I heard with Cole Byrne, he said with the way that this year has gone and the way next year is going, he may have retired a year too early. Because he took that time, because he retired because he wanted to spend more time with the family, and now they're only at the track one day a week.
Right.
So
and his family business he started ain't open, because guess what?
No.
You can't, even with the weather getting colder. For those who don't know, he's running a ski resort, and one, there's no damn snow.
I know.
Summer, and two, it ain't open to the public.
Who was it? I think it was Daniel Trotter that they had the interview with, or someone. Oh no, it wasn't. It was, I forget who it was now, but they said to him that because I guess they could apparently see him in talking with him,
right?
And they said, "Oh, it looks like you're working out. You've kind of lost a little weight since retiring." And he's like, "Well, actually, I've kind of been drinking more beer, so it's not really losing weight, right?" Which true Canadian fashion, but
when in doubt.
Yeah.
So other than that, there's no real silly season stuff to announce. There's still a couple things up in the air that we should hear. I'm going to say 2 to 3 weeks after Phoenix race.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about who we think will win the Xfinity Series. I think you have. I know who you think will win.
I'd like Briscoe to win. I'm fearful the 22 is going to win.
You know what? Justin Haley's been running too good lately.
He has been running well.
I think you're going to see the smaller team at Colleague Racing raising that trophy, beating the two giants.
That would be awesome.
In that thing, I think it's going to be Justin Haley.
Okay, so I'll go with Briscoe. Hopefully, you go with Haley. What about trucks?
I'm thinking Moffitt. I think that's the only where I can go. Yeah, like Sheldon Creed's been good. Zane Smith's been good. I think, and to a degree, Enfinger's been there as well. But when it comes to trucks,
let's go with Moffitt.
I think it's been there, done that.
All right.
Moffitt has, with an underfunded team.
Let's go with Cup. Our predictions for Cup. Hamlin?
Oh, my order, what I want to happen and what I think will happen is Hamlin, Keselowski, Logano, Elliott.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Let's go with Hamlin, I guess. The lesser of the evils. I don't know. I
truly do think he's going to bookend the season.
Hopefully.
And, and if you want that guy who's won the most races, he's right up there with how many he's won. So,
yep, that's true. So there we go. Let's go with Hamlin on that one. Other than that,
only other thing is a World of Outlaws.
Right.
Back a little while ago, they canceled due to COVID their World Finals, which was supposed to go on this weekend in Charlotte. And instead, a little while ago, they announced that they're having the last call weekend this weekend in Charlotte to finish the season.
But it's not the World Finals.
No, it's just the last call to determine the winner.
Yeah. Two completely different things, except it'll look the exact same.
Which is still another one that I want us to get down there to witness at some point.
Well, there we are. That's NasCanucks, the Lunchtime Letdown show. Wow, we just hit the hour mark. So thanks everyone that tuned in. As always, he's Doug. I'm Ben. And I have that damn sign off. Oh, yeah. Keep it high, wide, and handsome. Cheers.